leveled against him by a former chairman of the Appropriation Committee of the House, Mr. Abdulmumin Jibrin. Shortly after the meeting with the President, the Speaker of the House told reporters that despite the allegation of budget padding, he would not resign. He also said that budget padding is not an offence.
Well, for me, I studied law. I've been a legislator. All this period, I've never had the word padding being an offence under any law. If I don't know, you are the media, research the law, let me know.
Worried
for what? Worried over nothing? Why should I be worried?
Will they be sanctioned for?
Will they be sanctioned?
No, I'm not chairman rule ethics of the House, so I wouldn't know.
Are you worried?
I wouldn't know. Worried? Why should I be worried? As far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried about anything.
Now, this is where we draw the curtains on this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next week.
What is the economy? It's pretty simple. Nigeria's economy is what we produce, what we consume, and how much money we have. So, to build a great economy, we need to make more things in Nigeria. Import less from outside, so we can have more for everyone. Let's export the oil from our land and crops from our farms. We'll improve electricity for the benefit of our local companies, which will now manufacture more of the goods we used to import.
That's why the Central Bank of Nigeria is supporting payment systems, agriculture, MSMEs, electricity, and other sectors. Want to know more? Visit www.cbn.gov.ng. Central Bank of Nigeria, driving growth to make life better for you.
M5 Plus with a 50-20 milliampere battery that lets you play for up to 3 days on a single charge. Gioni M5 Plus, always in power.
Our customers are focused, versatile, superheroes. Our customers are also the most important people in our world. So we listen, partner, and give solutions that make a difference in their world. At First Bank, we will always put you first.
You first. First Bank.
This is Channels Television, celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting.
I am Gimba Umar. Tonight,
Troops invade community in Benue in search of an alleged gang leader linked with murder and kidnappings in the state. The state government gives reasons for its action. As political campaigns heat up in Edo State, security forces vow to eliminate any threat to the peaceful conduct of the governorship elections. And former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo debunks rumor of return to main opposition party, the PDP. And fire from a birthday cake with lighted candles kills 13 people at a bar in the French city of Rouen.
And on business news tonight, Fitch Ratings grades 8 Nigerian banks after reviewing the country's long-term local currency issuer default rating.
And in sports news, U.S. teenage shooter Virginia Thrasher wins first gold medal at the 2016 Olympics.
We'll begin tonight with the invasion of Bishi community in Katsina-Ala local government area of Benue State, north-central Nigeria, by government forces in search of an alleged gang leader and beneficiary of the Benue State Amnesty Program, Mr. Tewase Agwaza. Mr. Agwaza is accused of having a link with the killing of the security aide to Governor Samuel Otom, the late Denin Ibgali. According to the state government, the invasion follows the alleged refusal of Mr. Tewase to turn himself in for questioning by the police on accounts of the murder of Ibana, kidnapping of 2 Indians, as well as the alleged murder of 5 members of the Joint Civilian Task Force.
With serious, difficult internal security challenges, and I have to state that violence can never be a statement but a crime that must be condemned by all and must be tackled. The military has a role in ensuring that the internal security of this country and the territorial integrity is maintained. All operations the military conducts, they conduct it in line with our code of operations, our rules of engagement, in line with universal laws of war.
The actions followed the refusal of Mr. Akwaza to report to the police to answer charges of murder, kidnapping and other armed robbery. The operation was approved by the State Security Council. Security reports have linked Mr. Akwaza with the assassination of Dene Igbana, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Special Security. 5 civilian joint task force members in Okun local government area, and several killings, as well as the kidnapping of the Dangote Cement Company Indian workers.
Succor may have come for the victims of the recent attacks by gunmen on some villages in Adamawa State, northeast of Nigeria. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, David Lowell Babachar, has dispatched a delegation to the area to condole with the people and hand over some relief materials to them. The team also promised to provide the affected people with shelter and security.
This is Kodobun community in Demsa local government area of Adamawa State, a community attacked by herdsmen just days ago. At the palace of the paramount ruler of Demsa, a delegate led by the Special Assistant to the President on Policy Development and Analysis has come to pay condolences to victims of the attack and the community.
On behalf of my council members and the entire subjects of Fata community, we want to take this opportunity to thank you very much. We are painstaking coming here today to visit us.
Outside the palace, the team presents some relief materials it brought for the victims.
Gross neglect of our lives and property was displayed by the people. Perhaps if people like you with sympathy and concern for human life were here, what happened would not have happened.
A member of the State House of Assembly appeals for urgent action from the federal government.
The community are facing a serious challenge of food items, place to sleep, mats. No, there's no shelter for them entirely, nothing. And the government needs to really do something, to hasten something about it. But I thank God for the relief materials that just came in, but that's not enough. That's not enough for a whole community.
After all the requests were made, a representative from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Bapatel Hassan, pledges to work on their demands.
I've heard what the request of His Royal Highness, the paramount ruler of this kingdom, and I will take that message to the government. We have understand the major problem they are having. One, he requested for two things. One, presence of security. Two, the shelter for these people that were the victims that were displaced. And therefore the government will surely going to do something about that.
In the interim, provision of adequate security will go a long way in keeping the people of Kodomun community safe, with the hope that such attacks do not recur.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has deployed special forces to help curb activities of kidnappers, armed robbers and cattle rustlers along the Kaduna Highway and other surrounding states. Inaugurating the Special Strike Force, the IG, who was represented by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations, Joshua Kabila, explains that the operations will be dispatched to various locations in Kaduna, Niger and the Federal Capital Territory.
Kaduna State in northwest Nigeria has recently become popular as a hotspot for kidnapping, with past victims including diplomats, judges, government officials and political figures. Worried about these attacks, the Inspector General of Police has inaugurated a special strike force. The IGP assures residents that the arrival of the Special Strike Force, together with operatives of Kaduna State Command, would bring activities of kidnappers and other criminal elements to their knees.
The operation will last until there is peace. These people are going to be given a particular section of the road, and we are going to cover the outer and the inner. That is the two lanes, and we put them at a distance that when the response will be swift. And we've told them that we should not have mercy for those of them who will come and kidnap or rob by the use of gun and by taking people's life. That will never happen anymore.
He appeals to members of the public to cooperate with men of the strike force and the command by volunteering useful information. Men of the squad were warned not to exhibit acts capable of truncating the operation.
We have to bear in mind that this is an operation that will endear us to members of the public, and therefore we must be professional. We must be civil in our approach to law-abiding citizens, while we are firm and committed to deal with miscreants and other non-abiding citizens with all firmness.
The troops moved to the various units to begin work with operational vehicles complete with communication gadgets.
Traditional ruler in Iba town in Lagos State, Oba Yushao Sedi, has regained his freedom after spending over 20 days with his kidnappers. The monarch was kidnapped in his palace on Saturday, July the 16th, 2016 by the gang who killed 3 persons in the process. Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Mr. Fatai Owosheni, who confirmed to Channels Television that the traditional ruler is back with his palace, said that the leaders of the gang of kidnappers have been arrested by the men. It's not clear, though, if any ransom was paid before he was freed. The kidnappers had demanded the sum of 40 million naira ransom, which the victim's family said they could not afford. Repentant members of the terrorist group Boko Haram now have a chance to begin normal life again, as the federal government has begun the process of reintegrating them into society. The National Security Council had mandated the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonisaki, to receive the repentant terrorists with a view to rehabilitating them. In readiness for this, a camp is being put in place for the former militants in Gombe, the Gombe state capital, northeast of Nigeria. Earlier this week, the Director of Production, Defense Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Emmanuel Anebi addressed a news conference where he explained that the program, codenamed Operation Safe Corridor, is part of measures to rebuild the Northeast. Joining me to take a further look at this issue from our Abuja studio is a social worker and former chairman of Maiduguri Area Council, Mr. Kaka Bolori. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10. You have basically interacted with the people of the Northeast, and you in fact know their way of life. My question to you is that, how do you see this reintegration process? Will society be able to absorb and accept this rehabilitated, reformed Boko Haram members?
Well, my view is that this is a process that it requires professionals, and it once been done in Saudi Arabia. The returnee from the Guantanamo Bay, they were taken outside Saudi Arabia. They were trained for about a year with some Islamic scholars, and then at least they recorded about 90% success. But the question now is, where are they going to be taken back? You have to sanitize the community before you take them back, that they should forgive them, forget the past, and so on and so forth. Without it, by the time you bring back an ex-Boko Haram, probably is the one who killed my father, my son, my wife, my child, and you expect the community to live in peace. I think that's a big mistake. I don't think that will happen. I don't know the process. I tried to Google it and find out what process they're going to, follow to do so. But unfortunately, I couldn't find what the Operation Safe Corridor is doing.
So what would you advise the government to do? Where should the government begin from?
Okay. The government should engage Islamic ulamas at home, where they're going to return, and of course they have to liaise maybe with the Saudi Arabian government, who experienced similar experience, even though it was not 100% success. Some of them yet gone back to join the ISIS, but at least like 90–80% success. So it's a very difficult task, and it requires a lot of resources. And I don't think the military can do that, because this is not a military operation. It's supposed to be, you have to get some Islamic scholars who will de-radicalize them. And of course, before doing that, they have to also sanitize the community where they are going back. The question is, where are they going to be taken back? Are they going to take back to their former community, or to new community? Maybe they are taken to Abia, Ogun, Oyo, or they are going back to Maiduguri and Yobe. So these are the issues.
So literally what you're saying is that they could face danger themselves, the reformed terrorists. What are your views precisely for the terrorists themselves? Absolutely. Within their own hearts, if they have to go back to society? Can they cope with themselves?
This is the question. Look, if, for instance, how you have to understand the gravity of the atrocity they committed. If, for instance, a Madala bomber, can you allow him to go back to the community and stay, now he's a free man? After all this atrocity, you have to find out the fact, and then those who deserve to be punished should be punished. Those who deserve to be forgiven then should be forgiven. And before you do that, no matter what, it's very difficult for the community to accept them. You have to sanitize the community, preach some kind of forgiveness, and so on and so forth. You can't just take them like this. At least you will never know who will attack them when you return them. And the community itself will not feel comfortable staying with ex-terrorists. Whether they are reformed or not reformed, as far as they are concerned, these are killers.
The former chairman of Maiduguri Area Council, and of course a social worker, Mr. Kaka Bolori. I want to thank you so much indeed for talking to us on the News at 10. In part 2, after the break, we'll look at another perspective of the de-radicalization and rehabilitation of the repentant Boko Haram members. We'll be joined on the News at 10 by a clinical psychologist, Dr. Charles Ume from Luth, here in Lagos. Stay with us.